friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. My name is Caitlin, and today is the day that we're going to go through all of the produce that we were able to put back from the garden this year and see just how much produce we grew. So if you're new to my channel, I grow probably 80% of my own food. Any vegetables that you can grow, I grow. And I turn it into all the things behind me. I freeze it. So really when I go to make my dinners or I go to make my meals, I largely am looking at what I grew, what I was able to make myself, and I kind of go from there. So every year at the end of the garden season, I like to go and go through my pantry, see how much we put back in the pantry, see how much we put back in the freezer, and just kind of take stock of everything that the garden did this year. So this year, I will say, was the most productive garden I've ever had. The garden put out a ton of produce this year. She worked really hard. So I'm expecting more than the pantry. I'm expecting most of my produce to be in the freezer. So I didn't do a ton of canning yet this year. We're going to look at a couple things that I canned, but I didn't do a ton of canning this year. I have some more canning I need to do, but come like August, September, October, that's when I do a lot of my canning. When I'm getting a lot of stuff in, I'm putting it in the freezer, and I'm waiting until I kind of get it in bulk, and then I can bring it out and can it up. Well, for me, in August, the very last weekend in August, I broke my foot. And it's November now, and this is the first weekend I've been able to walk without a boot. I was 6 weeks with no weight on my foot at all, and then I was 6 weeks slowly putting weight on, still using crutches, whole mess. So I haven't been able to do anything in September and October, so there's not a lot of canning that happened this year either, but this is a great time for me to kind of go through everything, especially in the freezer, see what I got. I know I have some more tomatoes I have to can, so kind of go through everything and see what I have and see what projects I want to do in the coming weeks. This is Veterans Day weekend, and I have a 5-day weekend, which is fantastic. So this is the time too I want to kind of sit back and see, okay, what do I want to get done in these couple of days off? Kind of just make my plan. So I thought we would do that. It's raining outside, so we can't be outside anyway, so I thought it'd be a good time to go through and see what the garden did. So the first thing the garden did really great at was storage crops. So I have a big bowl of onions. This is half of my onions. They're not huge, they're small, but I mean, that's golf ball size, but it's the best that I've been able to grow. So onions are something that I'm still kind of like figuring out how to grow. I can get the greens to grow really well. The greens are grown with a nitrogen fertilizer, and then once the onion starts bulbing up, you stop the nitrogen, and then they're supposed to bulb up. Well, mine this year especially just put all of their energy into the leaves and flowering, and just didn't work on their bulb growth. So I need to work on that next year. These onions I bought starts from Walla Walla, so I actually bought little plants and they were shipped to me. This year I'm gonna try to start my onions from seed. I bought red onions and white onions. My red onions didn't survive at all for some reason. They did nothing. The white onions, and these aren't Walla Walla. What did I say? I buy these from Dixondale, not Walla Walla. I typically buy Walla Walla onions, but these ones this year I bought Patterson onions, because they were a better storage onion. So next year I'm going to start my own onion seeds and see how that goes. So with the onion, I get the onion bulb and I get the onion greens. The onion greens I can dehydrate for onion powder. I actually don't use a ton of onion powder, so I still have some from I think 2 years ago, some onion powder. But I really like to keep the onion greens. I wash them, I chop them up, and then you can add them into like my pepper packets, which I'll show you when we get to the freezer section. Or you can just keep them and add them when you make your broth. They're a great way to just add onion flavor when you make broth. So the onion greens are another huge thing I love to get when I grow my onions. Next up are our potatoes. These are the last of my potatoes. I harvested these in early July, so it's November, so it's been a couple of months. They are all growing eyes. So my plan for this weekend is to can these out, to do something with these. So I'm going to, I don't know, do something with these. These need to be used up. And I have a whole box. I just bought a whole box of fresh potatoes from my local market. So I have plenty of fresh potatoes. So I'm going to do something with those. I had a whole nother crock that size already that I've already worked through. So these ones we're going to work through somehow. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with them, but I got a lot of potatoes. I think I grew like 27 pounds of potatoes. So that was a great harvest. So I've been eating potatoes, which has been really great. I planted sweet potatoes. My sweet potatoes were not successful. They didn't get the water. They got overcrowded where they were. So this is not a sweet potato year. Next year will be a sweet potato year, hopefully. And I'm not even going to be able to pick this up, but my next harvest is my box of butternut squash. This was the butternut squash year. I have a ton in here. I already ate my biggest one. I had a 5.5 pound butternut squash. I already ate him, but we have a ton of butternut squash that we'll be able to eat this winter. Another thing that was really successful was my pumpkins. I grew a ton of pumpkins. I'll put a picture in here because they're still on the front porch being used as decoration. But I grew a ton of pumpkins. And I don't know that I'm going to roast all of them, but I'm definitely going to get a couple of them in probably next weekend. Because I want to roast them. I want to get out the pumpkin meat. And that's going to be Thanksgiving pumpkin pies. That's going to be pumpkin rolls. And then a lot of that pumpkin will go in the freezer and we'll use that in bacon, or we feed that to the dogs when they have an upset stomach. But I want to get a lot of that pumpkin processed. So that was another great resource or a great item that we had. I'm thinking like pumpkin ravioli would be really good to do this fall. No, we're in November, so I need to like get on the ball. I'm going to do this. But I'm hoping to either do like a pumpkin ravioli or butternut ravioli with like sage. I think that'd be really good. So these items did really, really well for me this year. I've never grown this much butternut squash. I never grew the amount of pumpkins that I grew. So that was really exciting. Okay, let's talk about what I've been able to can so far. I haven't done a ton of canning so far. One new thing to me this year that I did was ketchup and tomato water. So I have tried to make ketchup before and I've been unsuccessful. This year I did something different. So I froze all the tomatoes because as they were coming out of the garden, I couldn't process them fast enough with my broken foot. So I froze them all, and then I put them all in my big roaster oven. And I'll bring you guys along if I do when I do this again, because I will do this again. But I put them in my big roaster oven to thaw. And once they were all thawed, I literally just skimmed out all the water till all you had left was a tomato. So I skimmed out all the water, and that's this tomato water. And so you can see it has like obviously like a reddish hue to it. This I'm planning to use when I make rice, or when I make like a Spanish rice. This I think would be really good rather than using chicken broth or just regular water. This will give it a nice tomato flavor. But I'm also really thinking this would be really good when you make tacos. Because you know when you make tacos, you gotta like add some water to make a little sauce. Rather than regular water, use tomato water. I think it'll just give it more flavor. So I got 5 pints of this just from like a couple freezer bags of tomatoes. So that was, and once I skimmed this off, you didn't have to cook all of this off to get the ketchup thick. So this kind of like helped the process. So this was a byproduct of that ketchup. And then I added, instead of trying to add my own spices, I just added, like, I got the Mrs. Wages tomato, or the Mrs. Wages ketchup packet, and I added that in there. So I got 4 pints of this. I could have let this cook up a lot more. If you can see, it is very kind of runny. I could let this cook up more. I don't use ketchup for dipping. I use ketchup in sauces. I use ketchup when I make sloppy joes. I use ketchup when I make meatloaf. I like add ketchup into things. So I was okay. I love the flavor. The flavor's on point. So I'm like, rather than like letting it sit and keep going and trying to get it to thicken up a little bit more, I was fine with it being, you know, more liquidy, more saucy. So it's a ketchup sauce. So I have 4 pints of that, and I'll probably do some more. We'll see what I need to do with my tomatoes, but I might do some more ketchup this year still. But I was really excited that actually works. That has never worked for me before. What else did I do? So I wanted to do more of my honey pepper mustard, but the broken foot didn't allow me to. And I don't know that you can freeze these peppers. I don't know, you could freeze the banana peppers and then use them in the mustard. I think that might be a little weird. So this is something that I have 3 pints, and it has to last me until next year, and I have to do it next year. I didn't honestly have to do a lot. I really, my pantry shelf was largely pretty stocked before this garden season. I did a really good job the past couple years stocking this, so I didn't really need to do too much. One thing I did do is I canned carrots and kohlrabi. These are both bought from the store. I grew kohlrabi. They weren't big. I didn't grow it. My carrots didn't germinate. So next year, hopefully this is a product that I can grow entirely myself. We'll have to see. So I put them up, but I didn't grow that. think really the only other thing that I might have put up, I did put up potatoes. I was out of potatoes, so I do have 4.5 pints of potatoes from this year's garden. So that's good. I canned more green beans. I have 3 quarts of green beans down here, and I have 3 more upstairs. I bought these. These are not from my garden. But I got some more than put up. And I did my jams and my jellies. I always do my jams each year. So I did like mixed berry, which is like just where you clean out the fruit at the end of spring. And it's strawberries and blueberries and raspberries. It's all the berries. So I did that. I did a whole bunch of strawberry. And I did a whole bunch of blackberry jam. So I did my peach jam. So I did my jams. And then one new thing I did this year is I made peach chutney. So my girlfriend makes this for her family, and they use it on like a shrimp rice dish. It's really good. I really like it on my Indian food. So I made peach chutney for when I make Indian, and then it's just a great, I think, topper for my Indian food. Okay, so that's largely all I did. I did 1 jar of beets. I got 1 quart of pickled beets that just went right in the freezer, and then a lot of my banana peppers. I had a jar of pickled banana peppers in the fridge already. As banana peppers came in, I just chopped it and added that to the jar, and then I kept using them. So I didn't actually get any banana peppers, I don't think. Oh, I did. I got 1 jar. I got 1 pint of banana peppers jarred. I got 2 jars. Okay. I have 1 quart and 1 pint that actually did get canned up this year. 2 are old, but I largely was just chopping them up and adding them to the jar that was already in the fridge. So I kind of just kept pickling banana peppers and using them as we went. So yeah, so that's what the canning that I did this year. So not a lot of canning at all. Normally in a single summer, there's been summers where I've canned upwards of 400 items or 400 jars. Definitely not this year. I think I'd be lucky if I hit 50 jars this year, and I don't think I was even close. Largely that's because a lot of stuff went in the freezer, and I have a lot of stuff left over. So I still have tomatoes in the freezer. We need to figure out what we're going to do with them. But my tomato products are tomato soup. My tomato soup is, I still have 2, 4, 7 quarts of it. I use 2 quarts at a time, so I have like 3 meals of it. But I have plenty of that. I have plenty of chili. I have plenty of tomato sauce. This is my tomato sauce, my spaghetti sauce. So I didn't really do anything with tomato. I could have actually like completely not planted any tomatoes, and I think I would have been just fine because I have so much put back, which is good. That's the whole couple years ago I transitioned from canning every single thing every single year to trying to like alternate it. So like these tomato soups, they're from 2023. They're from like probably October of 2023. So they're 2 years old. So I like to keep everything on a 2-year rotation. So that might be what we need to do. I know my tomato soup is 2 years old, so I might need to do another round of tomato soup just so I can make a point to eat through this tomato soup this winter, and then I have some fresh on the shelf for next year. My spaghetti sauce is also from 2023, so I might need to do some of that. Just, we'll see. I do know I need enchilada sauce. My enchilada sauce, I have 2 quarts of enchilada sauce left, and that's all I have of that. Chili is from last year. I did a whole new batch of chili last year, so I have plenty of chili sauce for next year. So yeah, so everything is honestly probably pretty good. I just kind of need to see how many tomatoes I got, and maybe like I think the tomato soup is probably something, the tomato soup and the spaghetti sauce. Make one of them so I don't have to make it next year, because I want to eat through those because they're about 2 years old now. So you want to start eating through them. So yeah, so we didn't do a ton of canning, but the canning shelves are still really full, which is really great. And then behind you, I still have a whole nother shelf full of my apple products. Apple pie filling, apple sauce. I also, this year, I did can of blueberry pie filling. So I have a whole bunch of jars of blueberry pie filling over there. I have apple cider over there. I have peach cider. I did do one thing. I forgot about this. I did make apple butter this year. We made apple butter from our own apple trees, which was really exciting. So I got a whole bunch of jars of apple butter made, which is going to be delicious on toast this year. I'm so excited for that. So yeah, so we're gonna go out to the freezer next because I think most of my stuff is in the freezer. But my pantry is looking pretty full. Without a lot of work for me, she's really full, which is really nice. And that's kind of why I wanted to can the way I've been canning. Because I only need to do small batches. I don't need to do big batches anymore. So before we head out to the freezer, I need to make more cowboy candy. I have jalapenos from last year in the freezer that need to be made into cowboy candy. So you might do that today. I don't know. But let's go out in the freezer. Most of my stuff is in the freezer. So let's go see what else the garden produced. But so far down here we have potatoes, onions, butternut squash. We have pumpkins on the front porch. And then we have some few items here or there that we were able to put back on the pantry. But let's go see what the freezer did. Okay, we've moved out to the freezer, and I bought some stuff that was in my inside freezer out that need to live out here. So sometimes I get lazy, I just throw stuff in that freezer. So I know this is all of the orange yummies I have. So these peppers I just slice in half, and I throw them in the freezer. And so I'm gonna combine these two bags. I love, the only way I eat these, because these are so good and these are my favorite thing, is pepper jack cheese, a little bit of olive oil, and some pretzel sauce. They're dynamite. They're so good. And roast them, they're so good. These cannot fall, so I'm gonna put them on that door for now. I accidentally let the bag thaw last year, and they're not as good once they thaw. So don't let them thaw. And then I have some banana peppers I just chopped, and we're going to work on them this week. I have a whole bunch of bread. I've been trying to make bread because I knew my bread stash was getting low. So I brought out some bread. And then these we made together last weekend. They are French onion chicken meatballs. So I have them. This is the freezer that has like all of my meals in. So I hope to go through that today too and talk about freezer meals. Maybe not on this video because that might get pretty long. Figure out what freezer meals I want to make too. But for now, for today, we're just kind of going through and seeing what produce we were able to get from the garden. Right off the bat, I see a ton of my green beans. I'm really excited about the number of green beans that I have. I need to see how many tomatoes I still have. So let me get everything out and then we'll talk about it. Okay. My intention was to like clean out the whole freezer and reorganize it, but I have too much stuff. So I got out my big bags. I left the meat in there though. But I have a lot of vegetables. So I think the big empty the whole freezer, clean it out and kind of organize everything needs to happen in the spring. Because right now there's too much stuff for me to get everything out. But there's a whole table of food here. So right off the bat, I'm going to talk about my fruit, my berries. I do a lot with my berries. So first and foremost, I like to freeze them. And these are ways that I can either put off the work until later or have other ideas for them. So I froze blackberries and I froze strawberries, just sliced and whole. You can add these into smoothies. I can turn these into, and I love smoothies, so I like to do that. Or you could turn these into like ice cream in the middle of winter if you really wanted. I like just having frozen berries on hand. Just, you never know what you might want to do with them. But then in case you don't use them come spring, you can turn them into like that mixed berry jam that I was telling you about in the basement. So I like having them on hand. I also really like to freeze my strawberry packets. So these are just strawberries I cooked down. They made their own syrup. I've sugared them a little bit. And I use these for strawberry shortcake. Where I come from, strawberry shortcake is a meal. It's not a dessert. And instead of being served with whipped cream or ice cream, it's served with milk. So this strawberry shortcake and a hot dog is like my favorite meal. So I have a whole bunch of these I like to cook down and turn into strawberry packets. And then I have strawberry shortcake throughout the whole winter. So it's one of my go-to easy breakfasts or easy dinners. I also turned a whole bunch of strawberries into strawberry curd. I try to freeze most of them in smaller jars, especially if you mix this with cream cheese. You can dip apples in this, dip vanilla wafers in here, dip cookies in here. It's really good as a dip, but you could also, I think you can make like a pound cake and then pour this curd like on top of the pound cake. I think that'd be really good too. So I have a whole bunch of these strawberry curds that are in the freezer. The strawberries largely were bought from a local farm, from a Mennonite farm. I did get a whole bunch of strawberries this year, but I think most of my strawberries I ate fresh. So I don't think I got to process and preserve any of the strawberries that I grew. So these fruits were bulk. But that's part of what I like to do. I like to buy what I can't grow enough of and then make sure I have it put back so I can eat it over winter. Moving on to other things. Those are my fruits. I don't have any blueberries in the freezer. I have them all on the shelf. And I don't have any peaches. I like to can my peaches whole. So I should have maybe kept a couple frozen peaches for smoothies. Maybe I'll do that next year because that's actually not a bad idea. I had great zucchini this year, zucchini year this year, so much so that I actually threw a lot of zucchini away. I put it in the fridge for me to work on and process, and I broke my foot. And to be honest, I didn't know what to do with all of it. So a lot of it went bad. But I made my typical zucchini cakes. I always make these. I was intending to make my zucchini crab cakes, and I didn't get them made, but that's okay. I still have some in the freezer. But I got, I think, 35 or 42, one of those numbers, I think, of zucchini cakes. So these I love to freeze as patties, and then I just put them in the oven or put them on a skillet and cook them up for a quick and easy dinner. They're delicious. So I did them, and then sticking with the zucchini, I also for the very first time did zucchini coffee cake, and I froze them in these individual little foil blocks. These aren't the best. The recipe needed to have more flour in it, and they don't have much flour, so they're dense and they're wet. So I don't know how well these are going to come out of the freezer. They might be delicious or they might be not that good. So we'll have to see. But these were something new that I thought I'd try. So I got 4 little mini cakes in the freezer. And then of course I did gobs and gobs and gobs of chocolate zucchini muffins. This is another one. It freezes really great. I get this out. My go-to breakfast with these is chocolate zucchini muffins and applesauce, and maybe like a meat, like a protein, like bacon or a sausage. I love them. And because they have zucchini in them, they're not dessert. They are literally a vegetable, and it counts to eat for breakfast. So I have a ton of that, which is great. And then, this is back to fruit, my raspberry lemon pound cake. I still have 3 of these, or I have 4 of these left. Oh great, let's pull one out. We'll have one now. I think every time I come out, I see these, I pull one out. These were great. I made these last year. These are raspberry lemon pound cakes. I have a video. I think we did them together. They're delicious. This year, I really expected to have a bumper crop of raspberries because they were coming in like gangbusters. And for the first time ever, the birds found my raspberries, and I lost every single one. So next year, I need to net my raspberries early because they were found quickly. So I didn't get as many raspberries as I thought I was going to get. But luckily, I still have 4 technically, 4 loaves left over from last year. Okay, now we're going to move into like what I was able to grow. So first is the broccoli bag. So I freeze my vegetables in individual servings. So if I know when I want a side of broccoli, I just open this, or a side of green beans, I just open this, dump, cook. Some people like to freeze it in like big gallon-sized bags, and then you just kind of like portion off what you want. I just find this way works easier for me. I like this way better. So let's count and see. My broccoli bag, I think, had maybe like 5 bags in it from last year. So let's see what we got from this year. And last year, actually, my broccoli didn't grow last year, so I had to supplement. So I had to buy my broccoli. So 5 of these bags-ish are store-bought from last year, but the rest is all me. I have 17 bags of broccoli, so 17 servings of broccoli. I think that's going to be perfect for the year. That's exciting. So I was able to actually eat a lot of broccoli fresh this year. I made broccoli salad. I roasted it fresh, which I really typically don't do. My garden typically comes in from the garden and it goes into the freezer. It goes into the cans. So I tried this year to eat more stuff fresh. So this was exciting that even eaten fresh, I have 17 bags. So mine is probably 5 from last year. I have 12 bags of broccoli that I was able to put back this year. So that is really exciting. I really want to know about my green beans. So my green beans, I think were completely empty. I think. I left my green beans out, I think it was last spring. I left them out and they thawed completely, so I had to throw them all away. So I think I went into this year with no green beans, period. So this, I believe, should be all fresh from this year. So let's see what we got. 17 bags of green beans. So my green beans and my broccoli are my go-to vegetable sides for winter. I don't eat a lot of green beans and broccoli in the summer because, like I said, they preserve really well, so I like to eat them as my go-to side for winter. Typically with both of these, I thought you have to thaw them completely. Do not use them for frozen. Thaw them completely, and then you can roast them or add them to whatever you want to do with them. But 17 bags of green beans, when I had, I'm pretty positive I had 0. I think is really, really good. And then I had the 6 quarts on the shelf. I bought all those green beans. So these ones were homegrown. The canned ones were store-bought. So I have a good amount of green beans that will last me until spring. That's great. Oh, I also forgot down here, I have a whole bunch of artichokes. Now I haven't started eating these artichokes, but I have a whole container down here of artichokes that I may or may not eat. I'm a little nervous, to be honest, but I grew them, so part of me feels like I should try them. Okay, let's go to peppers. Well, let's go to peppers. No, let's go to this one. So this big bag here, oh, I can't even lift it, is our corn. I don't grow my own corn. We buy it from a local farm, and then we spend the whole day, my mom and dad and I, and we put this up. So I don't even know how many bags I have in here, 25, 30 maybe? I'm not quite sure, but I have a whole bag of corn. So that is good. So my corn is going to be great for the next 2 years. Okay, now let's go to peppers. Okay, so this bag here is from last year. So my peppers, all I grew were banana peppers and orange yummies. So I showed you the orange yummies. Oh, here's another bag. This is a combination of orange yummies and bananas. Here I have another bag of sliced bananas. And I have one bag of snap peas. I think that's all the peppers that I put back. I think I just froze a lot of my bananas. I think I have this bag and I have this bag. And that, oh no, this is bananas and okra. Oh, these are old. These are old. I have to use those up. I don't know where all of my bananas are. I have another bag of banana peppers somewhere, but I don't know where they are. I don't know where they are. But I did get more than this when it comes to banana peppers. But let's look at the other peppers that we have in here, because I need to go through this because this is from last year. So this is the bag we're going to take in that I'm going to make cowboy candy out of. This is a combination of jalapenos and banana peppers. I'm going to use that for cowboy candy. I have a whole bunch of jalapenos. I didn't grow any jalapenos this year, so these are all from last year. So we're going to take all of them in and make cowboy candy out of them. Here's what I wanted to know. I have my pepper packets. These are one of my favorite things. This is another go-to side. It's peppers and onions and okra. And then I have these are my green onion leaves. So I like to chop these up and add these to the pepper packets as well. I haven't made any of these yet. These are all from last year. I kind of wait until right now to see how many peppers I got, to see how many I can put back. So I want to see how many I have from last year. And then I'm hoping, it looks like I have a good amount. I'm hoping I can make this last until we start harvesting peppers next August, because I don't have that many. But I have 14 of my pepper packets. I use these in like a ramen soup dish, which is really good. I also just use these as a side because it's peppers and onions and okra. And then you can just add, you toss them in a saute pan with olive oil, salt and pepper, and maybe like a garlicky herb spice, which I really like. And they're really good as a side. So I have 14 of those. And I have these few banana peppers and orange yummies. I don't know that I'm going to. I wanted to make more, and I don't know where all of my onions are, where all my peppers are. I mean, I thought I had a lot more peppers, and I apparently don't. So that kind of sucks. So I have 14 pepper packets. We need to make them last until next summer. That's going to be pushing it. I'll be honest. That will probably be pushing it, but we'll have to see. I really don't like using orange yummies in the pepper packets because they're my favorite. So I'll add the greens in here in case maybe I have to go buy peppers from the store. I don't know. That would be bad. And then this is, I have this set aside for cowboy candy, so it's mostly jalapenos. Has a couple bananas in there, but I don't think it's enough to make my pepper packets, so I can't really use that. So I dropped the ball on the peppers this year. I knew I dropped the ball, and then I also wanted to make more of my stuffed peppers. These are banana peppers that I stuffed with a cream cheese and sausage mixture. You roast them with some marinara sauce on top. So good. I wanted to make more of these this year too. And just like breaking my foot, when the banana peppers started coming in, I was not able to really kind of help out and harvest them. So I think most of my that's probably what happened. Most of my banana pepper harvest just kind of like wasn't really harvested. And my mom chopped them up for me. So I think my mom probably chopped a lot of banana peppers up into these orange yummy packets or these orange yummy bags. And that's fine. That's completely fine. So it'll be what it'll be. I have 17 or 14 of those packets, so hopefully that'll last us. I did go and I bought peppers, so I have I didn't grow any bell peppers this year somehow. I really dropped the ball on my peppers. I have 2 meals of stuffed banana peppers, so these are just bell peppers that I sliced. So I'm going to stuff these as 2 separate meals, and then I have slices of peppers, of bell peppers for like Philly cheesesteak, or I make a really yummy sausage and pepper crock pot dish. So that's all my peppers. That's it. There might be more at my mom's. My mom was putting a lot of stuff in her freezer, so maybe there's more at my mom's and I don't know about it. I don't know. Yeah, let me put those in that bag. Those are my banana peppers. Okay, next are my tomatoes. So I did put a lot of tomatoes back for future meals, and I was also freezing them as they came in so I couldn't process them. I know my mom has multiple more bags of tomatoes at her house, so I need to go get them from her. But at least in my freezer, I have 2.5 freezer bags of tomatoes that can be processed. I think my plan was to keep these out and process them this weekend, but I don't have enough really to do anything massive with, so I think I'll wait. I'll get some more for my mom and then for my mom's freezer, and then we'll see what I feel like doing then. But I did make a point this year to freeze cherry tomatoes. So it's a 1.5, 1 3/4 bag of frozen cherry tomatoes. My favorite way to use these is there's a viral dish. We get like boursin cheese, like a garlic and herb cheese. You put that in the middle, then you put your cherry tomatoes around it, add some garlic, add some olive oil, salt, pepper, and then you roast that, and that makes it into sauce. Then you add cooked pasta to that, and it's really good. So that's how I intend to use these tomatoes. Of course, you can buy fresh tomatoes, but my tomatoes put off like gangbusters. I honestly should have had way more than this, but I was like, okay, I feel like we're good. I feel like we have enough. So I should have put back more, but that's what I did. I only have so much freezer space. And then here, yeah, I think I got more snap peas. I have 3 bags of snap peas that I was able to put back. These are not as good as they are fresh, but they're something, and I don't want to buy produce from the store. So blanching these and then let them freeze them and then let them thaw completely and roast them. They're still very good. And then I think last but not least, the last thing I have in the freezer from the garden is I have a couple of servings of butternut squash soup. I made the soup up and then it was too much for me, so I threw a couple containers of this into the freezer. And I think that's it. I think that is my garden harvest. So some things did really great. I think most things did really great. The biggest fail for me was the sweet potatoes and the peppers. The peppers was a massive fail. The sweet potatoes was a massive fail as well. But everything else did really, really good. So I'm really pleased with how much I got. So now I'm gonna go ahead and throw all this back in the freezer, and then we'll talk about what my next steps are. At this point, there's actually not a lot for me to do. So I definitely have the jalapenos out, and I had a couple more bags in the inside freezer, so I have all them out. We'll thaw them and we'll turn them into cowboy candy and cowboy candy marinade. I have this bag of banana peppers and okra that looks very frostbitten that I honestly think I'm just gonna toss. It's been on the door, so it might have thawed a couple times and refrozen, so that's not good. So I'll probably toss that. And then I'm stealing a raspberry and lemon pound cake for dessert for tonight. So actually not a lot of stuff that I need to do. So that's weird. I thought I'd have so much stuff to can right now, and I don't. But the freezer is full. The pantry is the cannon pantry is full. So I definitely may not have grown exactly everything I wanted to grow, but I had a lot of food, and so that's always the goal. You want to at least have a lot of food, so I won't starve. But thank you guys for joining me. I'm going to end this video now because this was a lot. But come back and I might bring you guys along when I do something else. I got to figure out what to do with those potatoes. I have to make this cowboy candy, and then I still need to process tomatoes, but I need to get the rest of the tomatoes from my mom. So come back and I'll show you guys what we do with all this stuff later. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.